Before I begin the video, I just want to flag, as always, that I am not a qualified financial advisor and nothing I say should be considered as financial advice.
Hello, I'm the Jury Saver, and this is my June 2024 stocks and shares ISA balance update. So, I'm on a mission to build up my stocks and shares ISA balance alongside building up my emergency fund and also paying off my mortgage. So, I'll jump straight into the figures and just show how I've managed to build up my balance in June. So, I started with a balance of £7,743. I then purchased £75 of the fund that I invest in. Now, you'll have noticed over the past couple of months, and I've mentioned on my previous video, that I am keeping that relatively low at the moment, so I'm only investing £25 or kind of sums less than £100. The reason for that is that I am trying to build up an emergency fund. So while I'm really eager to put more money towards my investments, I do want to make sure I've got a couple of £1,000, preferably £6,000 in a cash emergency fund that I can use in case of emergency, because from previous years what's happened is I haven't had enough in the emergency fund, and then I've had to sell investments to cover the costs of day-to-day spending, which isn't great. So I'm trying to avoid that trap in the future and not touch this investment, treating it as long-term investments. So income returns was 2p, so I think that is to do with the interest that is on the cash part of this ISA account. So I get paid dividends quarterly. I think it's quarterly. It's basically it's every 3 or 4 months. I don't know. I never remember which one, but June wasn't the month that I was paid dividends for one of the funds that I invest in. And then the market gain / loss. So this has actually been a really great month for my investment returns. So the value of my investments increased by £260 in June. So it was a bit out the ordinary because the previous month it went up by 113, but then the month before I'd actually went down by £160. And if I just go back to last year, let me see. So this month 260, that is, I think that's the best monthly return I think I've ever had. I think that means I think it's the best monthly return I've ever had. Now, I'll come on to this when I talk about the overall figures, but it is long-term investing, so I try not get, I'm not going to try not to get excited about great monthly figures, but probably what I would say is I try not to get too disheartened at where the markets went down and I've kind of lost money on my investment. And I use the word loss quite loosely because, as with any investing, because I invest in the long term and I invest in a global index fund, and again, this is not financial advice, it's just what I invest in. I'm not just investing in one stock, I'm investing in a fund. So the only time I realize a gain or a loss is actually when I sell units of my fund. So even if it shows red one month, if I'm still holding the fund and haven't sold it, then I haven't actually lost the money yet. The thing with the thought behind the long-term investing is that as time goes on, the sort of I'll have more green months than red months, so the value of my investments will increase and compound over time. But I'm not going to say too much about the funds that I invest in, just because it's not financial advice. And I think the sort of most detail people need to know is that I invest in a stocks and shares ISA in a global index fund, and that's been chosen because it suits my tolerance level and based on the research that I've done. So the market gain, was 3%. So if I take my monthly return and then divide that by the balance at the start of the month, I get 3%, which is, quite high compared to previous months. I didn't have to pay any fees on the account, the platform that I use, and that means that the cumulative returns were £1,433. So that's the total. The total difference in value between what I've kind of paid for my investments, so how much they cost me versus how much they're worth. So so it's 1,433, and then the end balance was 8,000. I'll just move this along, £8,078. So I've just hit a milestone of getting above that next £1,000 bracket. So it took me, £7,000 I hit in February, and £8,000 I've hit in June, which is really good news. I've mentioned before that my really big aim with this is to get it into 5 figures. So I've been hovering around the 6-7 balance for a few months now. I had a period last year where I took some money out and then I had to rebuild up my investment pot. So one of my ambitions is hopefully to build this to £10,000 by the end of the year. I'm trying to weigh it up with, as I mentioned before, building up my cash emergency fund. Now, obviously it's more exciting. I find it more exciting to invest than it is to save. However, I need to really learn my lesson from the last time when I prioritized my stocks and shares ISA over my emergency fund, because what happened was something came up that was an emergency, and I had to liquidate some of my my investments. And luckily, I sold my investments when they were kind of in the positive, and I'd sort of increase the value of them was higher than I'd purchased them for, so I didn't make a loss. However, I guess the opportunity cost there is because I sold those investments, they weren't being held to see future return on them. So even though I didn't make a loss in them, ideally I would have liked to have left that money where it was and let that interest compound over the next 10 to 20 years. So just talking about overall figures. So again, these videos, I put them on here to show the realities of long-term investing. So I've had 37 months where the investments have went up in value, 24 months or 40% of the time it's went down in value. So I think this is probably a 2020 month here, this really big one. But I guess in terms of tolerance, I think long-term investing, you've got to really be ready to see months where it goes down, because that's the nature and the volatility of the stock market. So I've contributed £6,500, and I've just realised this is the wrong. But I'll have to fix these figures. Can I fix them on the fly? That is the question. So I'm just gonna change this now. So I'm not sharing the formula bar on my screen because I didn't do the screen snippet high enough. But what I'm gonna just quickly do is change this so that it's right, because it'll bug us if I do a video and I haven't got this correct. So this is the test 8078. Yep, brilliant. So so I've contributed £6,600, and then the increase in value of the investment is £1,400. So it's meant a balance of £8,000. So as I said, the plans for the rest of this year are at least contribute by £25 per month. Hopefully, I hit my emergency fund goal in the next couple of months, and then at the end of the year, I can start investing more into my stocks and shares ISA to hit that £10,000 balance. Or alternatively, hopefully I have more months like we had in June of getting a market gain of £260, because then it might naturally hit £10,000 by the end of the year, but we'll see. So yeah, thanks for watching. If you're on a similar investing journey, then do let me know in the comments box down below. And as always, I'm not a financial advisor, and these are my personal opinions. So if you are new to investing or considering it, then do your own research, and just remember that your capital is at risk, and the value can go up as well as down, so do bear that in mind. But yeah, I really enjoy doing these videos, and I really enjoy kind of reflecting on the journey. So I've been investing since 2019 now, so I'm starting to understand what it feels like to have positive months and negative months, and yeah, I'm starting to appreciate what long-term investing means, and what my risk appetite and tolerance is. So yeah, I'll see you on the next video.